to WRPB and WRPB Studios. Okay, so as a small business owner, there's like almost a million things you got to do, and you can't get them done because there's only 24 hours in a day. And sometimes you need help because it takes a village. So sitting next to me is Tammy Schaefer, and you're with Blue Butterfly Solutions.
Yes.
What is Blue Butterfly Solutions?
It's a virtual assistant company, and I
Okay.
specialize in doing all the general admin tasks for small businesses and entrepreneurs.
Okay, so let's clarify. What would you consider a general admin task?
So, online research,
Okay.
or helping with newsletters, or even writing a resume for somebody who's looking to promote themselves, and just general admin, all the stuff that you would think of in the corporate world, all the things that the assistants do. That's what I would do.
And you do it remotely.
Yes.
Okay, so how long are you around the industry?
I've been in the administrative industry for over 25 years.
Okay, times change, things
Hmm.
change. So, what's different being a virtual assistant as compared to what you used to do?
What's different
Besides that,
is,
you don't have anybody looking over your shoulder
right,
constantly.
that's the big difference. There's flexibility, and I can take my work wherever I go. So virtually is the freedom that I didn't have when I worked in the office.
And I spoke about this before about I don't have the ability to work from home.
Right.
The refrigerator gets in my way. Okay, the cats meow and they get in my way, and plus my ADHD makes me go from this to this to this to this to this. So I surely understand how a virtual assistant really can be a major asset.
Mhm.
And when you think about the timing compared to the dollars, okay,
Right.
what it would take you to write a newsletter,
Mhm.
it would take me 2 hours to write a newsletter. It would take you 45 minutes, let's just say. I should be doing in that difference of time, making my own money.
Right.
Okay? So you get into this. Why'd you get into it?
I got into it. I fell into it by accident. My husband had a job on the road doing hotel reconstruction, and I was able, after the first year, I was able to get on the road with him. And I watched the project manager um, struggle with all the details. So one day I kind of joked with him and said, "You need an assistant." And he said, "Yes, I'm trying to train my girlfriend." And I said, "Well, if she needs help, let me know," because I was trained as a legal secretary. And that was a week later, I was working for him.
Yeah. But you weren't really working remotely.
I was,
Oh, were
because
you?
he traveled, he did 3 to 5 jobs at a time. So he traveled all over the country. So I just was in the hotel rooms. My husband and I lived in the hotel rooms while we worked. And so I did all my work remotely.
How technology has changed
Mm,
things. Okay, so the internet being a blessing and a curse.
hmm.
Okay, which is kind of interesting. But so I open up a business. Let's just say
Hmm.
I call you up. How does it all start? Do you come to my business? We have a consultation. How does it work?
Mostly I work with people that are already established.
Hmm.
But if somebody's starting, the thing I would do is meet with them, get to know them a little bit and their business.
Right.
And the first thing I would recommend is starting with a newsletter, because it's the foundation of all your marketing to come.
When you say a newsletter, would that be sort of like a press release?
Similar, it's an ongoing press release for your clients and
Okay.
potential clients. It's to showcase your business in a way it's like a dripping campaign.
Okay. So you say newsletter. I'm going to guess that it's not a one-time thing.
No,
So you should be doing constant newsletters.
I would recommend at least once a month. If you're really ambitious and you really need to get going, once a week. My newsletter I publish every 2 weeks.
Okay. So what's in the newsletter?
The newsletter should be useful tips for your ideal clients, so things that would help them. you want to give away as much information as you can.
Really?
Yes.
Because I would go like, I go the old saying, why buy the cow when you get the milk for
Right.
free?
Because the people that I want to work with are people that value and understand what I'm doing,
Right.
and they would rather pay somebody and go do what they're good at.
And I get that,
Hmm.
but, and maybe I'm looking at it wrong. So I'm looking at it as, I'm just trying to think, let's talk about a painter,
Hmm.
okay? You don't, you want to be careful what you give away because you don't want anybody else to start their own painting company, so you don't want to give away where you get the paint for X price, where you get your tools for X price, where you get your clients from for X price. Because if you do that, then it's a training video.
Right. With the painter, I would suggest giving people tips that are amateurs on how to paint.
Yeah.
Not maybe not necessarily where they can go get the supplies and all that, but definitely how to be an expert amateur.
You could give me where to get the paint, and I'm not painting.
Right.
Okay? There are just things I just don't want to do. Painting being one, plumbing be the other. I don't mind
Right.
electric, but the thing about plumbing is I'm always afraid that when I leave the house, I'll come home to a flood.
Right.
I don't do any laundry when I'm going out. Okay? Those things just bother me. All right. So so they contract you per newsletter, per week, per month.
I work at an hourly rate.
Okay.
So what I do is what is called, my mentor established it, the debit card system. So you would purchase what we call a debit card, 10 hours or 5-hour chunks. The 10-hour chunks is $500 or $50 an hour. The 5-hour chunks is $300 or $60 an hour. And then I do some small projects, like say a resume, at an hourly rate of $100 an hour.
So you'll write the resume,
Hmm.
but they have to give you all the information.
Right.
And then you'll just put it together so it's organized and
Hmm.
looks right.
Exactly.
Okay. So that's a one-off,
Hmm.
right? You do it, you're basically done
Right.
until 2 years when they change jobs and things change.
Right.
Okay. What do people normally contract you for? Like here, a lot of people do their own shows
Hmm.
and they contract us for 1 year.
Okay.
Okay. And they come in twice a week and do their own show. So basically, you're talking about they doing 24 shows. You're not contracted that way, so
Right.
you don't do a monthly.
No contracts. It's project based. And I do have some ongoing. If you want me to create your newsletter, get it set up, and then you give me the content every month and I can put it out every month. Or you can have me write the content as well, if that's what you're looking for. So I can help people get set up and they can run with it on their own, or I can do the ongoing, but there's no contract involved. They're only paying for the hours that it takes.
Okay, so basically, I'm just going to pick time because I don't really have the
Mhm.
answer. So basically, it takes you 2 hours to set up a newsletter, and I don't know.
2 to 3 hours,
Okay.
depends on,
Let's
and
just say-
sometimes longer,
Let's say
depends.
2 because my math is easier when I
Okay.
do it my way. Okay, and then if I took a 5 hour, I have 3 hours left,
Hmm.
and I can use them for you to write content.
For anything you want.
Okay, so
And it's good for a year, so it
that's
doesn't expire.
where I
in
was
it.
going. So
Right.
basically, I have you set up this newsletter, and it takes 2 hours, and it takes you another hour to write content. Let me just
Mhm.
say, and then 6 months down the line, I want another newsletter.
Hmm.
I can use the credit that I still have.
Exactly.
That's an interesting way to bill out, I think. I can't. I mean, is it easy to keep track of?
It is. I keep track of the hours, and then I send an email every Monday morning with how many hours they have left, and a link to purchase another debit card if they want to extend their hours.
Okay, so is it a debit card through a company that you specifically work with?
No, they actually can go online. They click the link. It goes through Stripe,
Okay.
And they purchase it, and then they just use up the time.
Okay, so Stripe, so they're not really buying a debit card, they're buying the time through Stripe.
Right.
And you're just gonna chop it down as you go along.
Right. We just call it the debit card because it's easier to understand.
Right, except for people like me. You get to a certain age, you don't understand anything. It has to be explained like 10 times to me. But and that's a cool thing, because the more you explain to me, the more I learn, the more I know. And at the end, I don't remember any of it because I'm old. All right, so, and I can use that debit time for anything that you do.
Yes.
Okay, so newsletter, content, two things. Resume, what else?
Website updates, website research. I have done social media content. This week I was working with a client to set up a new calendar system for her and sync it with her purchasing system so that we can keep everything streamlined. So come tax time, things are easy.
Tax time, nothing's easy.
Right.
When you're in business, tax time, nothing is easy.
Well, nothing is fun, but it makes it simpler
Right.
than if you didn't have a system in place.
Especially if someone else does it.
Right.
Okay? Always good, always a little easier when someone else does it. All right, so you do all this stuff, you work off of, for lack of a better word, a chopped down price schedule. And of course, the more they buy, the bigger discount they get.
Right.
What does, like most people, do they do like the 10-hour?
I find it's variety. Some do 10 hours, some just want to try it out with a 5-hour. And then I have a variety of people that just have one, a quick resume. I'm doing a quick project, an Excel sheet project for a client. Just wants a couple hours, so they're just going to pay hourly.
And how much is hourly if you go that way?
It's $100 an hour.
Okay, so if you're going to work 3 hours, I might as well buy a 5-hour card.
Exactly.
Okay. And I guess you keep a voting total because you send everybody out a thing at the beginning of the week.
Yes.
Most people who do 5 hours, and I know it's going to vary, but how long does that usually last? A month, 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
It really depends on the client. It depends on how quickly they respond when I have questions, how quickly it's, to get through the project, how clear they are and what their needs are. So sometimes it might take a while for them to figure out exactly how they want to get it, to use it.
So I say, hey, I want a newsletter. This is what I want in it. You create it. That takes you 3 hours to create it and put the content in. I'm just picking time.
Right.
Now you send it to me for approval, and I don't like it.
Right.
Now you have to change it. It's going to eat up another hour of my time.
Right.
Do you do part hour?
No.
Everything is by hour?
Well, actually, no. I keep track of in Toggle. So I do charge, if I take 15 minutes, that's what you get charged. So it comes off in 15-minute increments.
Okay, and depending on the plan you took, depends on what the 15-minute value is.
Exactly.
Interesting. We're getting a tougher time. How do people find you? You have a website?
Yes, bluebutterflysolutions.com.
Okay. And a phone number?
717-951-9049.
That sounds like, even though you're here, it sounds like a Pennsylvania number.
It is a Pennsylvania number.
And it's another thing about times and technology. We used to have to change our numbers and stuff. We don't do that anymore.
Right.
Okay? And you don't have to have a number in the area that you work in because most people using a cell phone doesn't cost them anything.
Right.
Everybody has said it a million times. I'll say it again. Use a professional. Some things are not a DIY project. And having an assistant in your office full time will probably run you a lot more than having somebody doing it for you, because you don't have to have that other person there just sitting around paying them if you have nothing for them to do. Tammy, I want to thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Everybody have a
My
great day.
pleasure.
We'll be right back.